All right. So last time, we were trying to figure out who the mysterious voice behind the phone call is. Actually, wizards, and well, I just kind of picked randomly. I guess I'll just just roll it from here. I picked randomly, and then obviously that ended poorly, where everybody died. So let's not do that this time. I've thought about it though, and I'm still not really sure who I'm supposed to pick. However, I guess I'll just go through my thought process, but I'm still not entirely sure. But yeah, let's narrow down the suspects. There's a code name, maybe. Wizards and sorcerer, but maybe not wizards. Now that makes me wonder if there's some kind of like Japanese pronunciation where where you like doesn't make sense in English, but maybe in Japanese you say wizards, it sounds like something else. I don't know if they're saying it literally, like wizard, like wizardo, something. I don't know. Excuse. Or are they saying like the Japanese name for wizard, and it sounds like something else, kind of like a homonym, which Japanese has a lot of. I mean, I feel like any kind of Asian language just has a lot of homonyms. Words that sound the same but have different meanings. But I guess I'll go through my thought process. I mean, obviously the first time I picked Ikeda. That's just us, that's the we're crazy theory, which, I mean, if we're crazy, then we just don't believe anything that's happening in this game. So that's just a moot option. I mean, we know that's already wrong. But yeah, let's go through left to right. Let's see. Akira. We know Akira was not wizards, unless there's some crazy thing where wizards was like a voice recording somehow. That could be a crazy option, but then again, that it could be everyone. But I'm thinking like maybe wizards was like a voice recording and somehow predicted everything that Ikeda said or whatever. But I don't think it's impossible. Considering there's like a monster running around, there's like, I don't know, mysterious deaths and all that. There's a lot of like sci-fi, like the whole like memory brain thing, where you're stuck inside a VR system, right? I don't think it's impossible that maybe you could do something like that. But if we think that, then it's impossible to know who it was. So we're going to assume the old school style, like whoever couldn't like physically in the normal world call Ikeda during that time. Between 2 times, I think there's 2 times the wizards called. It was during the fan service scene when Akira and Neneko was showering, which I censored on YouTube, by the way. I did it wasn't perfect, but I don't know. I didn't want to like risk it. So that's why I put like a big box around them. You probably see that on YouTube. You're watching on YouTube, but it's not perfect because it blocks the text box, unfortunately. But, oh well. I gotta make some sacrifices to not get banned on YouTube. If possible. But Akira was showering with Neneko during the first phone call, so it's impossible. It's not Akira. Jacob, obviously was our default option, it seems. That's what it seems like anyway, at least when I picked the wrong option. I'm not sure if that's always the case for every option. I'm not sure how detailed this choice is, but I'm going to assume if you pick the wrong option, we go to Jacob. By default, we assume that wizard is like Wither Hill or something. It sounds like a brand of wine, so we go to him, but he's already dead, so we already know from that bad ending. It's kind of cheating, but we already know from that bad ending that's not him. There's Abigail. Abigail is the maid, the short maid. I guess a lot of short girls in this game for some reason. I don't know. But she was the one that put Ikeda, I assume, inside that weird virtual reality memory simulation thing in the first place, and also was trying to break Neneko's arm and asking like, who's the or assuming actually we're the killer. Like assuming like Ikeda and Neneko, assuming everyone's the killer, I guess, because her plan, I guess, was to put everyone into that weird machine, and also figure out some kind of like code, right? Which the killer, we're assuming, knows because Abigail asked that, right? And that code, I guess, we don't know what it does, but maybe it has something to do with the biological weapon or some kind of thing, I guess, some kind of secret about the island. So that's what Abigail's intent is. So we assume she's not wizards, because wizards, at least I assume anyway, was trying to cooperate with us. If they were trying to help us, sort of, a mutual benefit, why would they be attacking us in the first place? They would at least talk with us first instead of attacking us right away, and then suddenly just have a second phone call where they're, pretend nothing has happened. That's kind of weird, It's not impossible, I guess. Abigail could just be pretending again, but it'd be kind of weird, right? Why would they go through a direct option, and then try indirect option right after? It just makes no sense. So it's probably not Abigail. Neneko obviously again was taking a shower or a bath or whatever, Akira, so it's impossible for her. It also makes no sense because she's the main character of the game. Why would they drop the bomb that she was like a, I don't know, special CIA agent, even though she doesn't seem like it in the first place. So it doesn't seem like her. Giselle, maybe. Giselle is actually very suspicious, in my opinion. I like her, to be honest. I like her character. She seems interesting, but I do have my suspicions because there's that one time where she was supposed to be protecting Akira. Well, not protecting, but she was supposed to be standing in front of the door while Akira was being interrogated, and the two seemed very close, but she just suddenly disappeared. And she said that Vincent called her away, and you could think like maybe she was lying, because if she was wizards, then she could be lying, and then she would have put like she's the prime candidate of putting that snake to attack Akira, right? She could just pretended that Vincent called her away, and when she was looking for the antidote, she'd just be pretending to do that. And, a lot of things that she seemed to try to save Akira, but maybe she was just covering her tracks. I don't know. On the other hand, though, I'm thinking like, well, if she wanted to kill Akira, why couldn't she have done so a lot earlier? I'm not sure about that. Maybe she didn't want to kill Akira necessarily, but she was trying to sacrifice both Akira, or, well, not both Akira, but she was trying to sacrifice Akira in order to kill Ikeda and Neneko, right? That's the idea. Because many times she's been alone with Akira, but maybe they're not as close as you think. Akira maybe depends on Giselle, but Giselle's just pretending to, like, care about Akira, but really, on a moment's notice, she has, like, a snake that she throws into the room just so she can kill Ikeda and Neneko, maybe. Who knows? I mean, I'm assuming trying to kill Ikeda, because Ikeda was the person, he revealed to everybody he's the detective and everything. Obviously, like this kind of like werewolf / Among Us / Danganronpa-ish kind of game. What's that Gmod game called again? Turbo and Terrorist Town? I mean, there's a lot of games like that. Social deduction kind of meta game. You would kill the detective, right? Because that's the person that's trying to figure out the killer and all that. But then again, now that I think more about it, then that makes no sense that why Giselle would be wizards then. If she was trying to kill Ikeda in the first place, why would she be wizards? Because wizards, again, was trying to kind of help us, right? Not trying to hinder us necessarily. They might not be like a complete ally, but at least they want to, be able to cooperate with us in the first place. So why would they try to kill us? So I don't think it's Giselle in that case. She might be the killer, if that's the case, if I go through that kind of hypothesis, but well, a lot of people can be the killer. But let's not think about that right now, because we're trying to figure out who wizards is. We're not trying to figure out who the killer is right now. So yeah, maybe it's not Giselle. It's very unlikely. I think she already tried to kill us. Similar to Abigail, I guess. Why would they be hostile towards us and then also try to help us at the same time? Unless they're just being weird, I guess. But it makes no sense, right? Thomas is dead. So unless he's a zombie, I mean, crazier things have happened. Again, weird like virtual reality, memory extraction device, and also like biological weapon monster thing, and human experiments, and a lot of things have happened. I wouldn't put supernatural out of the picture, or even then, well, zombies can be considered technically sci-fi, not supernatural necessarily, I guess. I mean, I did make the comparison of this island to the Umbrella Corporation, so it's just gonna turn into that. Maybe no, maybe not. I don't know. But Thomas, unless he's a zombie, and a sentient zombie at that, it's not him. I don't know. Unless somehow he faked his death, that seems super unlikely. I'm gonna cross him out. I don't think it's him. I don't know. It just seems very unlikely within what we understand from the game so far, unless they're gonna pull something out of their ass. We're just gonna be surprised. It's his body double or something. He had a twin this entire time, or I don't know. Anyway, but I'm not gonna think that right now. Aurora, is a figment of our imagination. So I don't know about Aurora. Again, after the first part of the game, we've been told that she doesn't actually exist. So I don't know how real she is. She's a unknown quantity, right? She could be real. Maybe she does exist, but not in the way we saw her in the game so far. You know, maybe she like is a ghost or something. I don't know. Again, supernatural, or maybe she was sneaking around. Maybe she's on our memories because she was sneaking around, and maybe she didn't actually interact with all the other guests. We just assume she did, or I don't know. I'm not sure, but she's like, I don't think so. Riel. Now that's a big maybe actually, because, well, assuming she was telling the truth, while we got the first phone call Wizards, she was actually trying to contact everybody else to talk about, I believe, the owner's death. What's his name? I already forgot his name. I don't know why I already forgot. I mean, there's gaps in recording, so sometimes it takes a bit for me to remember everything. But Sir Raymond, yeah, Sir Raymond. So Sir Raymond died. Ikeda and Riel did like a autopsy. We learned that he freaking got super murdered, I guess. And it was Riel's job to like inform that to everybody. Look out for the killer as usual. And so we assumed that she tried to call us during the fan service scene again that I censored. And the second call was actually from Wizards, and then she called again. It was actually from her, and then she said like, "Why were you so? Why was the line busy, and everything? I was trying to contact you, right?" So it makes her seem innocent, but that's only if she's telling the truth. I mean, you can pretend, right? You can pretend that you were someone else, and then say that you were busy because you knew Ikeda was being called in the first place, and we don't know the timeline as well. Could she have been like, I don't know, I'm not sure. Like, could she have been like pretending to call everybody, called us as Wizards, later on tell us that the line was busy, pretend that she called everybody, and then later called everybody, like this like chess master 4D chess thing where she just pretended the entire time or something. I don't know. I feel like she does have a mysterious air around her, she seems like, I'm just a nurse, or I don't think she's a nurse actually. She said she was an internist. I'm still not entirely sure what that means. I mean, I'm assuming it means intern. I don't know why you say internist. I don't know. I'll probably look that up, actually. I don't know what internist is. Actually, I'm gonna look that up. I never actually looked that word up, even though I never knew what it meant. Internist. What is an internist? No, actually, yeah, it has something to do with I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Internist is a specialist in internal medicine. Okay. Huh. What does an internist doctor treat? They treat patients with conditions such as heart disease, diabetes, obesity. Okay, anything due to the body, I guess. Okay, so they're kind of like a general doctor. Well, actually, they're not a general doctor. They are a specialist, I guess. I don't know. She's like a fully fledged doctor, I guess, basically. So yeah, she's actually just a doctor, as it turns out. I don't know. I wasn't sure what internist meant, because she always kind of played it, in a way where like, oh, I'm just an internist, like I'm not very smart. So I just assumed she was an intern, but she's not actually. She's like a fully fledged doctor. Actually, she went to medical school and everything. I don't know why she always like played it off as like, oh, I'm not very smart or something, but actually she is. I don't know. Anyway, she always does that though. She always tries to humble herself, which makes it even more suspicious because she might be hiding something. I don't know. So she's a maybe, actually. I'm not entirely sure. I'm trying to think of the events of the game where she would have a reason to try to like hurt us or something. I don't know. Well, to be honest, the only hint, and it's kind of cheating to be honest, the only hint I got was at that bad ending. We saw Akira's body, we saw Giselle's body, I assume. It was kind of dark, so maybe hard to tell, but I think it was Giselle. But we didn't see Riel's body in that bad ending. So that makes us suspicious too, but I'm not sure. Well, I don't know. It could be a red herring too, where they deliberately just put her body out of the frame just to trick us. But anyway, she's a maybe, 50-50. Alex, it's not Alex, we know that, because we did a little trick where we screamed during that first phone call, or actually not first phone call, the third phone call actually, the phone call we just had technically in the game when I reloaded. We yelled just to be safe, or not safe, but like just to be sure if they're on the first floor. We're assuming that Ikeda's trick worked, I guess. I don't know how soundproof the rooms are, but we're assuming that's the case. And Alex was in the first floor. I remember he was on the first floor. Well, actually she, but you know, she was on the first floor. And so it can't be her, right? That's the idea. There's no way, right? I mean, obviously we also rendezvous with Alex in the first place during that bad ending. You know, it didn't seem like he or she, I'm getting mixed up now, but she was like acting suspicious. Probably not wizards. Vincent. Now, Vincent is also a enigmatic character. He's like the butler for Sir Raymond. We don't know what his allegiance is. We're assuming to Sir Raymond, but it could be, you know, something else. But he did seem strange. There's like one line of dialogue where we like Ikeda said Vincent was acting calmly for the most part, like as if he didn't care. Or Neneko, I think, said that. But we did notice his eyebrow did kind of like twitch a little bit, right? When he saw Sir Raymond's body. We're assuming, you know, no detail usually in a mystery game is unintentional for the most part, especially when it comes to body language. So we're assuming Vincent actually was surprised about Sir Raymond's death. So for the most part, he was loyal to Sir Raymond, but as it turns out, Sir Raymond's dead. So maybe he has motivation to help us, right? Because he doesn't want the killer to be killing everybody in the first place. His loyalty is to Sir Raymond, not the killer, right? So he has, I feel like, a motive and also maybe capability in the first place. Right? We don't really see him very often, so we don't know what he's really doing, but that might mean that he's in a safe spot where he could just call anyone he wants, including us. So I think he's the more likely option, but I feel like it's still a bit of a gamble because we don't really know much about him, right? We don't see him very often. We never really interact with him all that much, so I'm not sure. So I think it's a split between Rio and Vincent. I mean, I could be wrong, but I think judging from what has happened so far, I think those are the likely candidates of our mysterious caller who kept trying to call us and try to cooperate with us in a way where like they're not directly helping us, but you know, wants us to do some of the work for them, I guess, right? So yeah, I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's Vincent. I don't think it's real. Assuming she was telling the truth, but you know, if she was telling the truth, then she'd just be innocent. If she was telling a lie, then she'd just be, you know, not innocent. So it's kind of like, well, I don't know. It's just dependent on my own bias. I'm not sure from the facts we've seen so far. I don't know. Unless there's a testimony. Did we ask a testimony from Maria? I don't remember. I'm not entirely sure. Anyway. I'm assuming it's Vincent. Let's go on a limb and say it's Vincent. I could be wrong. And you know, how long this? I kind of like just broke it all down, but I you know, all this time spent thinking about it could just be wrong, you know. But and then I just brute force the rest. But anyway, I'm assuming it's Vincent. I don't know how it relates to wizards. That's another hint as well. Like maybe the name has something to do with wizards. I can't think of that. I mean, maybe Abigail. Abigail is kind of like, I mean, what's like well, her name is kind of like reminiscent of the Abigail, well, to be honest, with Fate Grand Order, but you know, that Abigail is also based on like a case of the Salem trials, right? Where the witch trials happen, right? Where a girl named Abigail was kind of like a central point of that story, which I think it's real. Oh, isn't it? Or maybe not. I can't remember now. What's real and what's not? Is it fiction? Or I'm assuming the Salem witch trials did happen. But anyway, when there's a girl named Abigail that, you know, is involved in those events, and obviously, you know, witches, wizards, magic, right? So maybe Abigail, but I don't think it's Abigail though. Anyway, I don't know how any of the other names relate to wizards or like a Japanese pronunciation of wizards, or I don't know, Maho Shoujo. That's not it. Maho Shoujo just means magical girl. I'm saying it's Vincent. I'm not entirely sure. I could just be getting another bad ending. Let's see. I point out Vincent's name. Vincent, the butler of the mansion, is wizards? Why? I don't know either. Why? I don't know. Okay, that's wrong. Hey, Well, the people from the mansion are trying to find out what we know. And I was trapped and restrained in the basement after wizards called me. So wizards could be someone from the mansion. I guess so, but using a listening device would be much easier. Well, it's a bit strange. Definitely we'll be overdoing things. Any other possibilities? If wizard was something else, well, it's who would it be? Well, it's not you. The name was Jacob. Yeah, okay. It's going the same way. Like, I don't think that's correct. Alright, so it's not Vincent. I'm assuming, okay, I got it wrong. I guess the explanation is that Vincent and Abigail are working together, so they would be in direct contact. I assume they were different people, you know, maybe Abigail and Vincent are not working together, but I guess they're just grouped in that same category, is the idea, yeah. Why would the people in the mansion be attacking us, you know, if they're trying to get information out of us, right? That's the idea. Again, I assume Vincent was just working on his, you know, working on his own, right? Undercover, right? Pretending to be one of the staff, but I guess that would be unlikely because he's a butler. Right? He's been here for so long. Why would he be undercover at this point? So I guess that also kind of narrows it down too. Well, who would be undercover, you know? Representatives, right, for the most part. That's why it can't be Jacob. Jacob has been to this mansion multiple times already. Unless he's been undercover multiple times, I guess. But it's unlikely to be him. It's also unlikely to be Thomas, but he's already dead. But everybody else, you know, not including the mansion staff, are representatives, right? Or otherwise not real, but so it can only be people who had no connections with the actual island itself, and we're just coming in as a substitute, you know. They would likely be undercover, kind of like us, right? For the most part, until we literally reveal to everybody that we're not, you know, the person that we're pretending to be or something. I mean, I'm still not sure, but I'm just Rio, but then I guess we'll see. I put Rio's name. Rio? Well, it could be possible that Rio's an undercover investigator. Rio may very well be wizards. Given the circumstances and the content of the conversation, it's unlikely that you, me, the people from the mansion, Thomas, or Aurora are wizards. Well, that's true. I lose respect for you if you chose those people. No, I would think you have brain damage. Now, considering the loud scream I just made, that leads me to exclude one more person. Yes, what's that all about? A loud voice that comes from a room on the first floor can't be heard on the people on the second floor. On the other hand, everyone on the first floor can hear it. But I couldn't hear my scream on the other end of that telephone. Which means Alex, who is also on the first floor, can't be wizards. Yes. So the only ones who remain are Akira, Giselle, Rio, and Jacob. Of course, it can't be Akira either. The first time wizards called me, she was in the bathroom with you, so she couldn't have called me. And I have to censor this again. Why do we have to flashback to this? Look, I mean, there is Steam and everything, but I'm just gonna censor this on YouTube. Gonna pick a big old black box to cover the entire thing. Because I'm gonna be honest, they look like minors, you know. I mean, they're 16, so they are minors. But they look even more. They look even younger than that. Look, I just don't really want to provoke the anger of the YouTube algorithm, you know, bots that like automatically search for things that will probably destroy your channel. So, anyway, I mean, I've seen people get banned for a lot less, you know, like. There's like, I remember, wasn't there like a guy, I forget who it was, but I guess he was pretty popular and he like did a visual novel and there was like a slight panty shot, you know, that wasn't even the focus of the video, and then they got banned or the video got removed or something, I don't know. But yeah, that's why I'm so careful, right? But anyway. You mean when that hentai pervert was peeking at us? He was in the bathroom with me, so Akira can't be wizards. Yes. I didn't do that on purpose, you know, let me forget about that anytime soon, are you? Anyway, it can't be Akira. Alright, that way. I don't know. Fan service, I don't know. I get it, again. I don't want to go on a whole rant, but again. But I get fan service, but like, I don't know. It just kind of ruins the mood of like this kind of game. It makes no sense to me, but whatever. Also, Akira said that she would go back to her room with Giselle. If Giselle and Akira were in the same room, it would have been difficult for Giselle to calm. Yeah, that's what I was wondering as well. I wasn't sure what Giselle was, right? But yeah, okay, yeah. Well, I remember the bad ending though, because what he's saying basically, yeah. Akira and Giselle are in the same room, so if Giselle was the wizards trying to call us, it'd be kind of awkward, right? Because Akira is just right there, unless she's in on it as well. I don't know. I mean, it would be possible. They even mentioned in the bad ending that Giselle and Akira actually split up just a little bit, and then before meeting up again, right? During this time, but I don't know. Anyway, I guess he's assuming that it's not likely, I guess. Anyway, if Giselle and Akira were in the same room, it'd be difficult to just call me. Yeah, those two are always together, so it'd be difficult for Giselle to call you for a long period of time. In that case, there are two suspects left: Jacob and Riel. Jacob and Riel? Could it really be Riel? Because there's no way that the alcoholic is an undercover investigator. Hey, we should let go of any preconceptions. We have to consider the possibility that Jacob is wizard as well. Even so, can we narrow it down even any more? Well, it would be better to talk to them directly. Alright. I'm assuming that's the correct option. So it is Riel this entire time. Alright. Because the other option will only be Jacob, and that just leads to death. So I call Riel. Moshi Moshi. Hello? It's me, Ikeda. I'd like to talk to you. You have a second? Hi, Ikeda. Did you find out where that scream came from? Of course I have a moment to talk. What is this about? I would like you to come into my room, just you alone. Would that be alright? Yes, but what's going on? Not knowing the details scares me. I'll tell you when you're here. I appreciate if you could come as soon as possible. Alright. I'll be there in a bit. I'll be waiting. Accusing Riel all of a sudden is risky. What if you're wrong? In that case, I'll just apologize. I'll just say I'm sorry. Don't you feel any sense of guilt? She may become terribly upset. Well, facts don't care about your feelings, Neneko. Ikeda, it's me. Can I come in? Yes, please come in. The door is unlocked. Hello, Ikeda. What do you want to talk about? Also, why do you want to talk to me alone? What's going on? I wanted to ask you a few things. Rio, you're wizards, aren't you? Wizards? What are you talking about? I don't understand what he's trying to say. Okay, well, I tell Rio what I've deduced. The people who are excluded and the people who are unlikely to be wizards. However, I try to avoid talking about what happened with Alex as much as possible. With this information, we've narrowed it down the list of people who could be wizards to two. Jacob and you. So, who of you two could wizards be? I took a close look at the name Wizards. It's strange that this is a plural form of the word wizard. Perhaps this name contains important information about wizards' identity. So what could that be? I don't know. As a player, I don't know. What does real even mean? I don't know. Was there something that narrowed it down further? What about the Wither Hills white wine brand? I continue Neneko's muttering line of thought. Yes, that is a possibility. It's possible that Jacob based that name on the wine brand. But Jacob is a picky guy and prefers high-end wine. He would have used the name of a more exclusive winery, not a supermarket wine. So let's look at the second possibility. The NBA team, the Washington Wizards. It's a basketball team from Washington, and I remember one of the guests talking about Washington before. Is really that's the connection? Okay, well I didn't make that connection, I guess. I didn't think about sports at the time. I don't really think about sports in general, I guess, but anyway. That's right. Rio said that she's a physician from Washington, so obviously the first thought that comes to your mind is always where you come from, I guess, somehow. I don't know. Like a sports team. Exactly. Undercover investigators usually use the place they are from in their backstories to ensure there aren't any slip-ups during their mission. Because if they say the wrong things about a place they don't know, people who are familiar with the place might blow their cover. Yeah. I mean, yeah. Or it could just be like, you could just research the place, your own backstory, but I guess... No, I guess, yeah, because the idea is that maybe she's not really from Washington, you know? She researched her backstory so much that everything in her mind, assuming she's wizards, which I assume she is, everything she thinks about subconsciously will be from Washington because she's not really from Washington, is the idea, right? I guess, maybe? Oh, no, well, Ikeda say right here, So perhaps your place of birth really is Washington. I don't know. Anyway. Therefore, when you try to come up with a code name, you thought of Washington, and that name popped into your head. This means that you revealed your identity by telling me what city you're from. No, okay, maybe they are... Okay, well, the Ikeda say, like, she is from Washington. They happen coincidentally to use their own actual place where they're from, which I feel is kind of risky, actually, but they are using the place they're from, so they will subconsciously, like, get the facts wrong, I guess, maybe. Though, to be honest, I know where I come from, and I don't know a lot about, where I come from either, though. I don't know. I don't have, like, random facts about where I live. That's kind of weird to me, but whatever. But that's the logic, I guess. I don't know. That's just a thing. Hey, wait just a minute. Can I say something? Even if you really believe that I'm a wizard based on that information, is that rather flimsy proof? You also can't discount the possibility that Jacob wanted to make me look suspicious. No, it took wizards only a second to come up with that name. Jacob could have come up with that in such a short time. Even if he could have done so, why would he use the name of an NBA team? Most people wouldn't associate Washington with basketball. Also, I have conclusive evidence that proves you are wizards. Conclusive evidence? Did you notice that I muted the phone for a moment when you called earlier? When I muted it, I asked Neneko to call the guests' phones from Alex's room. The only phone that was in use was the one in your room. Is that funny? Only wizards and I were using our phones. If your phone was in use, who were you talking to? Did he do that, or is he bluffing? I don't know. No room phones were being used except for yours and mine. The room in my phone? You must be mistaken. Stop playing innocent. The gig is up. You might as well drop the act, wizards. Huh. That's why you muted your phone. I've been playing like a fool. But I remember clearly asking you not to reveal my identity. So you are wizards after all. Actually, I wasn't sure that was you until just now. Sorry. Looks like you admitted it a little bit too soon. What are you talking about? What do you mean? Calm down and think about it. Do you really think I could have asked Neneko to go to Alex's room by herself to call all the phones? There's no way she would have done that. Yeah, I knew it. He was bluffing. Oh, again, police strategy where you just lie. You just lie to the person that you're interrogating. And, why do I feel totally useless right now? But now that you mention it, I don't think I would have done that. You were bluffing, and I believed you. No do-overs, I'm afraid. I'm sorry I had to fool you. But I'm glad that you revealed your true identity. However, wizards, we have to be on equal ground. You've gotta be kidding me. Fine, you've bested me. Alright, I'll talk. I'll need a stiff drink first, though. I got my hands on an excellent bottle of whiskey earlier. Let's have a glass of that. Sciante, wizards. Or Sliante? Slante? I don't know. You're bloody annoying, Sen Ikeda. Bloody annoying. Oh, bloody annoying. Yeah, I hear that a lot. Bloody annoying? I mean, isn't that... I feel like it's a British thing. You don't say bloody unless you're from Britain or something. Or like, Australia, maybe? I don't know. Are you sure this whiskey isn't poison? Alright, we're just having a nice drink with Real. I guess. We're just doing that now. I got this whiskey before the people from the mansion became hostile to us. So don't worry about being poisoned. But you know, Rio, you're pretty rough around the edges. Shut up. Who cares about my personality? You have something to ask me, just ask. Okay. It's like different personality now. But you should understand there are certain things I can't tell you. Alright. Now we get to get her testimony, I guess. That's the idea. About your real background. So, what organization do you belong to? CIA? MI6? As I said, there are things I can't talk about. I can't just tell you who I work for, moron. Don't worry, I understand. Alright, I won't ask again. How'd you manage to get onto the guest list? You made your way into this island by using an invitation sent to someone else, didn't you? More of those subjects I can't really talk about. Alright, yes, my invitation was originally sent to someone named Sean Baxter. He was knee-deep in problems and we managed to ensnare him. We want to send an undercover investigator to this island, so I cut a deal with him and became his representative. He ended up being hospitalized with a sudden illness. I see. However, the people working this mansion are quite cautious. It'd be difficult to convince them that you're a relative of one of their guests. Who are you really? I wasn't lying when I told you I was a physician in Washington. Of course, I'm not doing that work anymore, and I only worked as a physician for about a year. Hmm. What kind of reputation do you have as a physician? What? Why are you asking that? Nothing out of the ordinary. I see. Well, with her personality, it would surprise me if she had a bad reputation. Kind of reminds me. I guess maybe she had like a Doctor House kind of thing. It's Lopez or something. I don't know. Huh. Why am I really annoyed with you right now? All right. I know I said I wouldn't ask about your real background, but I'm going to ask you again. Wizards is a rather strange alias. Are you a basketball fan? When I was a student, I used to play basketball, so yeah. I shouldn't have chosen a word associated with Washington. But most people wouldn't associate Wizards with Washington. Yeah, most people wouldn't. But don't forget that someone rather special made the connection. Neneko Izumozaki. She possesses such a unique ability, yet she can't utter a single word without tripping over her tongue. What? Why are you so mean to me? However, Rio, you won't the only guest with a medical background. Isn't it difficult to deceive others without having the knowledge of an active physician? I was planning to brush up on my studies so it wouldn't be exposed. However, knowing too much is not good either. It's easier to play the part of an ignorant little woman than that of an outstanding doctor. I see. This is very important. Can you tell me about your weapons and skills? I have a Glock 30 with 3 spare magazines. That's the only gun I brought with me. So you have a gun. Were you the person... I mean, again, it makes no sense for wizards to try to kill us, though. But there was a person who tried to shoot us to death, so... Close quarters martial arts, hacking, sabotage skills, and so on. I train in almost everything. Oh, you're kind of like, like a sci-fi RPG protagonist. Kind of like JC. JC Denton from Deus Ex. Anyway, it looks like you could come in handy then, although you're not very well armed. Don't be silly. I plan to use a Glock 42, which has an even smaller magazine size, and I'm quite familiar with it. I'd expect a large battle to happen and only plan on using a gun in emergencies. Unfortunately, it looks like a large battle is about to happen. Hey, you shouldn't discount the Glock. The Glock is a very reliable pistol, so I have heard, I'm glad there are many people from this mansion, but I'm rather worried about that monster. It's a humanoid biological weapon developed for the military. I haven't had to face it myself yet. I don't think you can easily neutralize it. Neneko, what impressions did you have when you saw it? Don't remind me of that all of a sudden. Let me see. As far as I could tell, its movement seemed slow, but I can't say anything because it might not have shown its true power at the time. In other words, you know nothing, Neneko. That's really useless. I was in a tough spot, Don't bully her like that. Only I'm allowed to bully her like that, you see. Anyway, if it bleeds, we can kill it. We should be prepared to fight it any time, though. Alright. I just hope it won't come to that. That report I read was pretty scary. Are we really gonna be alright? You're pretty nosy, aren't you? As I said, I'm not at liberty to tell you anything else about my background. Guess you're asking about other things. Alright, about the island. Rail, what do you know about this island? Sorry, but I don't know that much. Of the 3 other investigators who infiltrated this place so far, 2 have disappeared. The only one who returned was not able to discover any detailed information about this island. We found out so far, though, that this is a base for prostitution, organ trade, and some kind of weapon development. It sounds like you have more than enough information to blow the lid off this place, so why haven't you? Many well-known politicians and business people have frequented this island, so we couldn't expose the actual state of things here in the usual way. Besides, we're after this island's research and development. We're not that interested in prostitution and trade of organs. So you need to get verified information that has been gathered so far. If your superiors discovered that this kind of biological weapon was being developed on this island, what would they do? Something smells fishy. They're hiding something, aren't they? To be honest, I have my doubts as well. Hang on, this is classified information. I can't talk about this or else I'll jeopardize my position. Don't worry, there's no way that information could leak out in the first place. This is only conjecture, but perhaps one of my superiors is one of the island's clients, who also knew about the island's research. That's what I've been thinking. I see. In other words, this superior who's seen that research wanted to obtain that technology by any means necessary. However, if he revealed all the details, it would be obvious that he was a client of the island's other services. So he made up stories about weapons of mass destruction so that your organization would have a reason to seize and obtain that biological weapon? It's just an educated guess, but the more I think about it, the more it makes sense. But if so, I'm just a pawn being used to satisfy someone else's greed. I'm really fed up. I can understand that. Why don't you get a new job? I'm a bad guy. I'm a bad guy? I'm a bad guy. No, I'm a bad guy. I can only do dirty jobs like this one. I've done too many bad things to be able to lead a normal life. Hey, if I can do it, so can you. I'm the same. It's implied that I'm the same way, actually. I have the same background. Well, if you want to turn over a new leaf, drop by my office. We'll talk. You want to be my new employee? I don't think you're keeping your hands that clean either, Ikeda. Well, I'll keep it in mind. Don't expect anything, though. Alright. Can you tell me more about this island? Any more details, any minor details are helpful. Anything else that comes to mind? I don't think I know anything else. No, wait. Come to think of it, for some reason the research on this island suddenly stagnated 10 years ago. Apparently the flow of special chemicals they were using slowed to a trickle, but I don't know why. 10 years ago. It's always 10 years ago. 10 years ago is always like the magic number for anything that's like taking place a long time ago, but yet not too long ago, I guess. Does that mean something happened at that time? Perhaps they ran out of money? No. Prostitution and the organ trade continue at the same levels as before, and there are plenty of clients. It's unlikely that they ran out of money. If that's the case, then what could have slowed down the research? The disappearance of an essential element used for research, or maybe an important researcher who went missing. Is it possible that these murders are connected to that? Can the killer negotiate with the people from the mansion because they possess something that was lost, like a code? It is possible. If it would allow them to resume the research, they would definitely be interested in obtaining such a code. Maybe that's the unlock code they're after. It could be the reason why Vincent and his associates would revolt. But why was the killer able to obtain that unlock code in the first place? It remains a mystery. At any rate, I'm glad that there's a possible connection between the research on this island and the killer. Sorry, but that's everything I know about this island. Okay, about the killer. Tell me what you were doing before and after Thomas's murder. I want to hear the details. Before I went to the dining hall, I was drinking the lounge of Jacob. That idiot couldn't keep his mouth shut after a few drinks. He was a real fountain of information. I see. You were spending time with Jacob. I thought that Jacob kept you there against your will, but it was actually the other way around. It's a dirty job, but sometimes you gotta, or someone's gotta do it. He appeared to be in quite a drunken state, and I was only pretending to drink so that it wouldn't interfere with my mission. So what happened after that? Abby, the maid, told us that the food was ready, so we went to the dining hall. Didn't you arrive rather late? If I remember correctly, you were the last guest to arrive in the dining hall. Right, Neneko? Yes, you're right. Come to think of it, I thought I quickly ran back to the guest room building. I went to the bridge, but I noticed that the heavy iron door was closed. I figured that opening it would take too much time, so I just went back to the dining hall instead. I don't know if he was waiting for me or he just took his time in the bathroom, but I ran into Jacob again and we went to the dining hall together. That's it. I see. So the iron door was closed. Was there anything unusual about the corridor? Unusual? Nothing in particular. No, come to think of it, I think the iron doors were open at first. Does that mean someone closed them? The iron doors are open. When was that? I was disgusted by Jacob's drinking, so I pretended I had to go back to my room to adjust my makeup. What time was it? It was before Abby told us about lunch, so it had to be sometime before everyone gathered in the dining hall. Sometime before everyone got together in the dining hall, so the doors were open at that time. However, when I went to the corridor later on, the doors were closed again. That seems to be the case. Someone must have lowered the doors. Someone lowered the iron doors. There must have been a reason for that. Why would anyone need to close the doors? Did you notice anything about the causes of death of the murders of Thomas and Sir Raymond? If you're asking about my autopsies, I was taking them very seriously. I wasn't hiding anything. Thomas burned to death, and Sir Raymond died of blood loss after he was tortured. Thomas burned to death when there wasn't any fire. Sir Raymond was cautious but ended up being murdered anyway. From the perspective of an undercover investigator, what do you think? Sorry, but I don't really know what to think. The way I see it, the circumstances surrounding Thomas's murder were very strange indeed. and although Sir Raymond was extremely vigilant, he was killed. But if the killer is a trained assassin, they would have overpowered him with ease. Sir Raymond probably had a gun or some kind of communication device. I don't think he would have had any time to use any of them, though. One more thing, Rio. Did you hear any strange moaning after you arrived at the island and were escorted to your room? A strange moaning. Yes, I think I did. It sounded like the useless screaming of a half-witted girl. Yeah. I forgot about her screams. Did you hear anything else? A man's groans, for example. A man's groans? No, I don't think I did, but is this connected to any of the murders? I'm only guessing here, but I think that Sir Raymond was captured and killed around the same time we were shown to our rooms. He was tied up and drugged. After that, all the killer had to do was torture and kill him. The killer seems to have harbored quite a grudge against him. But was he tortured in the same room where we found his body? I wonder. Even if the killer was a professional, I don't think Sir Raymond would fall into such an obvious trap. If you were Sir Raymond, what would catch you off guard? Someone who wasn't supposed to be there. That could have caught him by surprise. I see. Someone who should not have been there. Who could the killer be? My guess would that be is a trained assassin. And they also are bald, and they have a barcode on the back of their neck. No. Right, well, that's all I have to say about that. Have you heard enough? Rio, would you happen to know a girl named Aurora? Aurora? Who's that? What does she look like? She's blonde with blue eyes and wears a big blue ribbon in her hair. That's Saber from Fate Stay Night. No, there's someone on this island who looks like that. I don't remember seeing her, but could she have survived what they did to the girls in the mansion? Well, if you don't know her, forget about it. Perhaps you shouldn't ask Rael about Aurora. Rael doesn't know about her either. If she was a virtual character created by that computer, it's only natural that none of the other guests don't know about her. She's just an AI. She was just a VTuber this entire time. But why did Alex react like that when I mentioned her name? I wonder. Well, never mind. I want to ask you one last thing. I find it hard to believe that an undercover investigator like you doesn't have a way to get in touch with the outside world. Are you hiding anything? All communications from the island are monitored, and they've also set up several jammers. It's not possible to contact the outside world with regular communication equipment. So what you're saying is that it is possible with special equipment. Well, I have an optical wireless communication device. It can communicate directly with satellites by using a high-power laser. This will avoid any jammers on the island, and there's no way the communications can be intercepted. But this device has a major drawback. It can't be used if there's too much cloud cover. Not bad for a stupid little girl. Exactly. It's not a big deal in a normal area, but in Illusion it's a problem. There's cloud cover all year round, so it can't be used to communicate often. Oh, how inconvenient. Since we arrived on this island, I haven't been able to use it even once. Even then, the beam needs to be focused precisely, making it very difficult to use. Still, good to have in case of an emergency. Yes, it would be really nice not to be dead by then. Also, without conclusive evidence that those weapons are being developed here, nobody will be coming for us. The risk is too high. We're stuck between a rock and a hard place. So, Ikeda, do you really think you can survive this? Judging from the cold-blooded ways each of the dead has been murdered, we're dealing with a professional assassin. Oh, and let's not forget about that creature. Hey, I'm doing everything I can, and if things really go south, we could always try the healing power prayer. Stop joking around. What good would prayer do? I've seen enough darkness and evil in my life. If there was a god, this would be a little less wretched. That's so edgy. I've seen enough darkness and evil in my life. And if God does exist, he doesn't get involved in anything, so he might just as well not exist. So I don't pray to God. I know I'm the only one looking out for myself. My gosh, you're so edgy. Well, welcome to the wonderful world of sarcasm. I don't mean everything I say so literally, you know. She reminds me of a little someone. Come to think of it, your office is in New York, isn't it? Can you see the Manhattan skyline from there? What's this all of a sudden? Yeah, my office has a great night view of it. Ikeda, if you don't stop lying, your demon will rip your tongue out. Actually, I'm betting the truth a little bit, but I do know a few places from where you can see the skyline at night. I see. The Manhattan skyline. I've never seen it with my own eyes. If I die, but you make it out here, please scatter my ashes there. I don't have any friends or family. I'd rather be put to rest there than 6 feet under. Well, I mean, if that's not a death flag, I don't know what is. I mean, she's too badass, unfortunately. You know, sometimes when a character is just way too badass, they're just gonna die because, you know, they are too cool for this world and therefore will be murdered really soon, because if they're allowed to be too badass, then, you know, why are we the main character, right? Like, they should be the main character instead of us, so therefore they get killed off by the writer. Nah. Anyway, I love gloomy talk. Also, you can't see the skyline of all that's left of yours, some ashes. Come to New York in one piece instead. I don't want to carry around your urn. I don't think all of us will be getting off this island alive. It's alright. If you die or survive, I'll scatter your ashes on the East River. That's very kind of you, but we're all getting out of here alive. We can have breakfast in Manhattan, hamburgers for lunch, dinner in Brooklyn at night, and finally drinks at the bar. And the East River won't have to be polluted with any of their ashes. I guess that's something to look forward to. I don't know. It's just like so. It's like a usually like a, you know, like a thing, or like an edgy person says. You know, it's like they're so edgy they go heh. Anyway, I might have had a little bit too much to drink. I was sober up in my room. Come back a little later. Did not reveal my identity to anyone, okay? Of course, no need to tell me. We'll just pretend that things are the same as before. Don't worry. Actually, I'm more worried about the gloomy girl. Don't worry about her. Neneko doesn't even possess the communication skills that would allow her to talk about that. Stop insulting me. But come to think of it, you're probably right. I'll see you later. Ew, at least we discovered her real identity. I'm glad we did, but what are we going to do now? Of course, our next step would be unmasking the killer. Excuse. In our testimony, Rio talked about everyone. If you combine and compare all of the testimonies, I'm convinced that we'll be able to unmask the killer. Could you take a look at this first? I have a feeling that there might be a choice coming up, similar to figure out who Wizards is. Maybe we have to figure out who the killer is now or something. I don't know. Also, my water bottle is leaking. My water bottle is leaking. I gotta fix that. Can't fix it now though. Wait. Anyway, Thomas was the first guest who crossed the bridge. We don't know if the doors were open or closed at that time. No, Rio Jacob crossed the bridge first. Ah, yes, you're right. But let's focus on retracing Thomas's steps, as he was the one who was murdered. Okay. Rio knows the doors were open. Next, Thomas crossed the bridge. Yes, at this point in time, the doors were open. But if we base this solely on Rio's testimony, we don't know if the doors were closed before or after Thomas went to the dining hall. This part is definitely muddled. After that, we went through the corridor and crossed the bridge. The iron doors were closed and nothing was happening on the bridge, right? Yes, I don't remember anything being out of the ordinary. One important fact is that the iron doors were closed when we went through the corridor. So if Rio's testimony is correct, someone must have closed iron doors just before we crossed the bridge. Who could it be? The iron doors, most likely. Let's see. Okay, so alright, so Thomas. Technically, Rio and Jacob crossed the bridge first. We're assuming they're going to the dining hall, right? But we're assuming Thomas went first. Rio knows the door is open. Then Thomas crossed the bridge. And then we went through the bridge. And then the iron doors were closed. We went through the corridor. Someone must have closed them. The doors are closed the entire time. That makes no sense because Rio did notice the doors are open. The killer closed them. but Thomas closed them. I mean, it could be the killer or Thomas. You don't know who the killer is, but it could be Thomas. Thomas is the only one who went that way before us, so maybe he closed them for some reason. Thomas probably closed the doors. Thomas, but why? Did he need to close the doors? Because Thomas can't have been the killer, so there's no point for him to close the doors. Neneko, you're overlooking one thing. The letter that Thomas had on him was probably written by the killer, so the instructions from the killer may have been written in it as well. If a good enough reason was given, Thomas would have closed the doors. For example, this is very confidential, so I want you to close the iron doors so the other guests can't make it back easily. I see. They may have tricked Thomas into closing doors himself. That way, nobody would spot the killer, and nobody would have seen Thomas being killed. Well, let's talk about the murder scene. After we crossed the bridge, we met Abby. Abby told us that she would lock the doors into place. If she did as she said, the iron doors should have been opened right after that. She's a villain, trying to break my bones, so maybe she was lying. But that doesn't appear to be the case. If Akira and Giselle's testimonies are true, the iron doors were open. So Abby did what she said she was going to do. Okay, yeah. Okay, so this is a timeline. Technically, Jacob and Rio, they went first to the dining hall. That was right near the beginning of the game, where it was before Thomas was murdered. And then Thomas went through, but we're assuming then he closed the door, so that's why the doors were closed. So that when we went through, we were like, oh, why are the doors closed? And then we had to open it, and we went through. And then according to Akira and Giselle, that was after us, they went through and they saw that the doors were open because Abby said that she would keep them open. But yeah, after that, Akira and Giselle went straight to the dining hall without noticing anything unusual. Giselle says she went back to her room to pick up her notebook. That's pretty suspicious behavior. Oh, that's right. Giselle returned to her room to pick up her notebook and then went back to the dining hall. The doors were open that time, there was still nothing strange about that bridge. Alex crossed the bridge next. Alex also testified there was nothing strange about the bridge and the doors, and the iron doors were closed. He was the last one to cross the bridge. It's suspicious. Alex could have closed the doors and might have done something on the bridge, right? Is his testimony untrustworthy? In any case, considering Rail's testimony, it is clear that the iron doors were closed at this point. We don't know who closed them, for now anyway. But anyone could have closed them, including Akira, who left the dining hall immediately. Only the two of us have an alibi. Or did the people from the mansion close it? It might be possible, but it wouldn't explain why Abby went out of her way to open those heavy doors. If the killer had the people from the mansion close the doors, why would Abby open the doors in the first place? Does that mean the killer closed them? And Thomas, who stepped out of the dining hall, was burnt to a crisp in the corridor in the guest room. Or guest room building, rather. Judging from both your and Alex's testimony that the bridge felt warm, it's certain that there's something hot on the bridge. But Alex told me he didn't see anything unusual on the bridge when he crossed it. That's very strange. If there's something strange on the bridge, Alex would probably have noticed it. This part is still vague. Again, I have a hypothesis for that, but I guess we'll see. Maybe Alex was just lying. That could certainly be the case, but Rail might be lying as well. When it comes to what happened on the bridge, the testimonies of those two are the most suspicious. Considering the situation, definitely. Or could things be less complicated than we're thinking? I think it's best to keep things simple. Perhaps we should not focus only on the murder of Thomas. This could be somehow related to the murder of Sir Raymond as well. This is how the guest rooms are allocated. We found Sir Raymond's body in this room. Okay. There's nothing particularly strange about that. Is there anything here that points to the killer? I want to try something. Huh? What do you want to try? I mean, go right ahead, but I'm going to the room where Sir Raymond's body was found, and I'll yell from there. I want you to listen if you can hear my voice in this room. Are you going back to that room? My knees are shaking again. Hey, that means you're going to leave me alone again. You gotta be kidding me. No, you can't be serious. You'll be fine. I'll only be gone for 2 minutes at most. Oh, are you really going to go? Oh, calm down, Neneko. I think it's just stupid Ikeda trying to be funny. Okay, well. And then she dies. Yeah, you idiot. No. I can hear Neneko yelling and screaming behind the door, but I need to check my hunch. I better hurry to the room where we found Sir Raymond's body. The body's still there. This room is so gross. That putrid dead body smell still hangs in the air. I better get this over with quickly. Neneko is a bonehead! That should do it. Now to find out if Neneko could hear me. Oh, that's a little lightning. I'll go back to my room.